work on those initiatives that you can develop that will give you these statistical decreases in crime, but also address the perception that people have, the feeling that people have, how you go into certain locations and you have a sense of not feeling safe. Oftentimes, in the case of New York, what they've done, just one thing that they've done in addition to it is try to increase the presence of police officers at different places and whatnot, because people have expressed and said that if there is more of an omnipresence or more visibility of uniformed police officers, they tend to feel safer. So that's the increase of these uniformed police forces, like, for example, increasing them in the subway system throughout the New York subway system. That was intentional, not only to drive crime out of the subway system, but to show individuals there that there is a presence and there is some attention being paid
But
to that
Matt,
particular area.
Marquez, is that
Yeah.
optics more than reality though? Because I mean, even last night there was a stabbing, I think, on the subway, and 2 days before that there was something else. When I spoke to May Adams about that before, he said, "Well, Naya, your perception, it might not be reality." I said, "My perception is my reality." And if I witnessed, for
Right.
example, when I went to City Hall to interview him, I witnessed homelessness, mental health issues, aggressive pandering, panhandling. I mean, and I said to him, these are different things. He said, yeah, but there's only 6 felonies a night or a day in the city. And I said, yeah, but if those felonies are murders and rapes, then that's not a good start either. So
Right.
his perception was, well, his position was, that perception isn't reality. So having a number of cops on subway might look great for numbers and all of that, but it doesn't make the community feel that much safer if they are still facing numerous threats on different levels.
Yeah. But I think, and this goes, and maybe I'm not hitting it the right way, and maybe the mayor's not even hitting it the right way, but it goes to the presence, the omnipresence. And what he's saying about the reality, your perception and reality is the same thing I'm talking about, but I'm talking about factual numbers where you can actually document that there are decreases in crime. But that means nothing to you if you still feel
Right.
unsafe in these systems. And the challenge that a law enforcement agency anywhere, and the challenge they're facing across the nation, is how do I make people feel safer? What can I do? What can I develop? What message can I deliver?
Let me ask
What
you:
can I harp
is
to,
that
to make people feel safe? So you find that, go ahead, I'm
you know what
sorry.
I'm saying? Is that that ability or the responsibility just on the police force, or are we talking about
No.
a larger, societal thing where the whole society, I mean, the whole civil, the whole social, political, everything has to work together to make people feel safe. Because I'm a black man,
That's right.
not necessarily, I'm 6'3", I'm about 210 pounds. I don't necessarily feel safe in a lot of situations. When I see police, there's a challenge, no matter how much degrees or
Uh-huh.
language I speak. Sometimes I see my own people, because I know the things people are challenged with, and I see the mental health crisis, especially in black men. So, what do you think the responsibility is around that imagery and actually making people feel safe?
One is understanding, as you understand it, that addressing these issues, especially crime, it's not just a policing issue. There are other social services issues. Perhaps there are other mental health issues. There are issues of homelessness that maybe need to be addressed, et cetera. Um, and people, oftentimes, if it's crime, it's just like everybody throws it onto the police. Look at the reaction, and this is a good example in New York when the mayor had introduced, was trying to introduce the concept of addressing the rampant homelessness that was tied into people who have issues of mental health, who were representing the danger either to themselves or to other people. And recognizing that you had to have an enforcement component, but more importantly, you had to have some compassion and social service component to address this issue in some way. I mean, you got significant pushback and it continues to this day. And then also, anytime you talk about increasing police presence in this day and age, you will get significant pushback because people believe, rightly or wrongly, that police budgets overbloated, that police
11 billion
staffing is,
dollars.
all that kind of stuff. So it, it's a challenge. If it's just from a policing standpoint, from a police commissioner standpoint, the challenge is not the hardest challenge is not the statistics because you can flood an area and decrease crime that goes on in that particular area. That's pretty simple and straightforward. The challenge is how do I, in that environment, make you feel safer? How do I get you tomorrow to feel when you walk into the subway system safer as opposed to how you may feel right now? And that is your reality. It, that is your reality. Your reality may not be statistically factual, but it's your reality. The challenge that you have to have is to introduce programs, initiatives, operations that address your perception and also communicate quite clearly what the goal and objective is with your operation. And I think that's why you need a person who is personable, who is a good communicator, and along with being an innovative crime fighter, if you will.
So, Mark, I think a lot of people are saying, it's policy as opposed to personnel. So it almost doesn't matter who you have at the top in terms of being the police commissioner if the policies haven't changed and the strategy hasn't changed. And the traditional sort of historical relationship between cops and certain members of the community hasn't got better, even with Eric as the mayor. How would you try and change that dynamic?
Yeah, you have to make demands of whatever administration is in place to begin to transform and change and reform those initiatives, those programs, those policies that have been proven and established to be counterproductive in developing good relationships between the police and the community itself, or programs that are unconstitutional. And a lot of times, what you have to demand from your police department is additional accountability. And of course, if you really want to change police, the only way police change is by penalty. So the same demands that have been made for decades and decades by so many brilliant activists and people have to continue to be made, and we have to continue to monitor the systems that have historically oppressed us to make sure that they are being held accountable and they're holding those individuals who work in those systems fully accountable. And that means applying penalties to it. But make the demand, point it out, make the demand, understand with the dynamics of whatever it is you object to. Don't just, go off the cuff and be against something just because it's good to be against it. I think you just really have to be much more informed about it and make the demand itself and expect that people are going to be held accountable when they violate in any way any of the rights of the citizen.
Do you think the rank and file are excited by the appointment of Edward Caban as the new police commissioner? And have you had any opportunity to speak to members of the community and find out what their position is also?
I have spoken to a whole bunch of people. I mean, I have, I know Ed Caban, but I mean, there is a level of excitement because, like I said, he's well respected and admired and liked by a rank and file and by a whole host slew of people in different units and departments. But let's be honest, that's internal. The challenge that he will have is now forming a relationship and a bond outside of the NYPD, because the true test of a good police commissioner is not how well the men like you inside the NYPD. It's really how you are able to function.
The reason why I mentioned his likability is that if they will respond to him, if he makes a initiative, a policy, will they be more likely to respond to it than push back? And in terms, because there is a reality, not perception, there's a reality between how folks feel about the police interaction with the community. And so if the community says, PC Caban, there's an issue over here, And he says, you know what, I'm going to address it. How will that be perceived and not perceived? How that will that be received by the rank and file? That's why I'm asking that question. It's not a likable contest or who likes who. It's just like, will they respond to him? Will they be accountable to him?
Yeah, they will be accountable to him. They will respond to him, and they would do that whether they like him or not, or agree with it or not, because that's how these paramilitary operations, these police agencies operate. You have the police commissioner and his directives, whether you agree or disagree with them, if they are not, as long as they aren't illegal, immoral, or unethical, the police officers will do that which the police commissioner sends down. And in this administration, especially because undoubtedly that which the commissioner sent down will have the full support of the mayor, who, as you know, is not a street of violence. He's very active and involved and vocal about a whole host of things. So, yeah, he's not going to have an issue with that. And I can't think of a police commissioner who will have an issue with getting his or her directives followed by the rank and file.
So Mark, thank you for your insight. I know you have the experience, so you know what it is to be inside and serve in a paramilitary institution. But there's another issue here, right? And I think it has to do with policing overall. There have been two cases, right, that have gone all the way to the Supreme Court: the Cheney versus Winnebago, and the town of Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. And both these Supreme Court cases, the ruling was that the police agencies were not obligated to provide protection to citizens. And this goes to what happened last year down in Texas when the police didn't even go in to stop the mass shooter. It was one of the parents who is part of a paramilitary organization, which was the Border Patrol. How is that connected to the issues all police commissioners, especially of these major cities, this whole thing, defund the police, right? And the social contract that many of us are under the belief of, that the police are here to serve and protect us, but there's only a certain limit that they may go to. And especially in our communities, we're talking about black and brown people, we feel the heat more than anyone else. So those two cases, how do you think that impacts policing and the policies that we see as unjust, and why people have been calling for this whole thing about defund the police or move funds to social programs or to housing or things like that?
Yeah, well, you said a mouthful with this one. First off, the dynamic in New York is very different than other jurisdictions, and the city charter is pretty clear about the authority of the police commissioner, et cetera, and the responsibilities and obligations of the law enforcement entities. So you won't have that same dynamic that you may have in other places, whether or not the police are obligated to provide that service. In New York, they are, and that's according to the city charter. I think the idea about whether it's defund the police or remix the police or whatever variations is out there right now. Well, let me just put for the record, I do not support, generally speaking, and definitely not in as far as the NYPD is concerned, about defunding the police, meaning taking a significant amount of money away. I think that there are always opportunities to reduce that budget, but I'm not comfortable with the defund thing. I've heard people speak about it in there's 10 different definitions. What I am definitely in support of is compelling police agencies to institute certain reforms, and if they fail to do those reforms, then there should be a budgetary consequence for it. But my concern about what is a lot of times referred as the defund of police is if that means eliminate the police, I ain't with that. And I think a bunch of people aren't with that. Most people aren't with that necessarily.
Right.
There's no ignoring the history of policing and the legacy that of policing, especially policing in black communities. I usually expand it to black and brown communities, but I deal specifically with the black community. There's no getting around the impact, the effects, the reality of it, the significance of the history. Everyone knows sort of slave catchers, that kind of thing. I was just looking at something that was pretty disturbed a few weeks ago, and that was the slave catchers oath, which is first police officers, which is hugely significant. But I think, and I believe, and I've seen that there is activism and energy to fight back, and now I need activism and energy and intellect to really be specific about what we need in these individual departments change and transform. And we have to do it on an individual basis because unfortunately there are no clear national policing standards. What they do in New York is different than what they do in Massachusetts, or what they do here in South Carolina or anywhere else. So there's no set standard. So you can't have a one-size-fits-all policing reform agenda. You really have to deal individually, and you should deal individually with the largest municipalities like New York, Chicago, LA. Because those are the agencies and the entities that pretty much inspire and impact police, hundreds of other large and small police agencies across the nation.
Sounds like we got to bring you out of retirement.
I was just about to say,
sounds like you should be the police commissioner.
I've asked him forever, and he says he's happy fishing in South Carolina. He's happy fishing in his little boat, and he's not coming up here again.
I'm not giving you an opportunity to talk about me, and then I have to come on here and talk about myself.
Exactly. He's quite content. Were you born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens? Is that it, Marquez? Or the other way around?
That's right. You finally give me my props.
Yeah.
You refuse to give me my Brooklyn props, but I appreciate that.
That wasn't a compliment. I was just stating facts. But anyway.
Well,
Are your people from South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Your people from South Carolina?
I live in South Carolina now. Yeah.
Okay. Are you? My dad is from South Carolina. My father's family is from South Carolina. I know.
Of course he does.
Dr. Jack Felder. Yeah. So that's my hood down there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you know what though, Marcus, I think you should come on up, have a round table with the mayor and Eddie Caban.
Yes.
Let's have a sit down with some activists. Yeah, you think I'm joking? I'm not.
No.
And let's push some of the issues that people are talking about. You already know. You was on the job for many, many years. You know the neighborhoods. That's why I mentioned Queens and Brooklyn. So you already know. Eric knows. Eddie Caban knows. Yeah, let's talk. Come on up. We'll buy you some vegan water and
vegan water.
Some bottle of vegan water on me. All right. Bless. All right, so I know Dr. McIntosh is online, so I don't want to, unless you want to stay on, Marquez. Dr. McIntosh, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you for waiting while Marquez was rabbiting on about no.
Rambling on.
Rambling.
I'm sorry, Dr. McIntosh, had me rambling on.
Shut up.
You're taking care of important business.
Dr. McIntosh.
Yes.
I know you're coming on to talk about Dr. John Henrik Clarke and that wonderful program that you have coming up. But real quick, since we have Marquez on before he goes, do you have any thoughts about what's going on with the city, the state of the city? I always say put the city on your couch, and you always look at me like, nah, please be quiet. But I'm going to ask you to put the city on your couch. As we have a new police commissioner, how are we looking?
I'm having a little trouble with what you're asking me. You asking me about the city and the state?
The state of the city. We have a new police commissioner. You know what kind of issues we deal with as a city, with the police department and all the different things that's going on and the crime rate and all of that.
How you feeling, Doc, about it? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Well, my feelings haven't much changed. A lot of these things remain constant. If you really research them and you look, administration after administration, there's certain kind of constants, the relationship between the police and, our community, that sort of thing. There's nothing new that I see on the horizon. There's nothing that's given me any special hope. There's nothing that's given me any new despair.
Wow, that's a mouthful too. Dr. McIntosh, I want you to, can you stay with us for we've got to go to a quick commercial break to pay these bills.
Absolutely. I called in.
Marquez, do you want to stay or you want to go and get your fishing in?
I got to go pick up my boat, actually.
I know, that's right. Yeah, plug that leaks there.
How you doing, brother Marquez? Yes.
I'm doing good, Doc. Thank you very much. I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I hope all go over with you too.
All right, Mike, I see you bouncing.
Yes, I'll catch you next time.
All right, so I appreciate
All right,
you.
brother.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Peace.
All right.
Okay. Dr. McIntosh?
Join us for a free webinar series focused on social justice, civil rights, and workers' rights.
Our mic's up.
We will explore issues such as racial profiling, discrimination, and workers' safety. The series will feature presentations from organizations such as the NYC Commission on Human Rights, the NYC Civilian Complaint Review Board, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the Department of Workers' Protection and Consumer Affairs. Who should attend? Paralegals and pre-law students, civilians who want to understand their rights, community advocates and community board members, faith-based leaders, persons who want to run for office, the staff of nonprofits that advocate for the disenfranchised and marginalized, workers who want to understand and protect their rights, individuals who are filing civil rights lawsuits, NYCHA residents and advocates. Session topics. Session 1. Introduction to a brief history of civil rights law and how it has evolved. Session 2. Your civil rights trial with and without an attorney. Session 3. Case studies, Abner Luma and George Floyd. Session 4. NYC Public Schools, the most segregated in the country, Solutions, and Brown versus Board of Ed. Session 5. Focus on sexual harassment and discrimination. Go to blmcivilrights.eventbrite.com to register for the free webinar series. Have your civil rights been violated? Contact the law firm of Figueroa and Associates now at 855-768-8845. The number to call, share, and keep or visit us at www.askthelawyer.us to schedule an appointment. Remember, the lawyer you hire does make a difference. We will defend your rights.
Divorce, separation, support, custody. The common factor? They keep you up at night. Sleep well knowing that you have the law firm of Figueroa and Associates on your side through this difficult time. Don't divorce your money. Don't divorce your children. Divorce your spouse. Whether it's a contested or uncontested divorce, the law firm of Figueroa and Associates will guide you through every step of the process. From child custody to property and debt concerns, the law firm of Figueroa and Associates has the experience and expertise in handling cases involving significant assets and complicated issues. A divorce can be one of the most unpleasant experiences a person ever has to go through. Don't do it alone. Stop the sleepless nights and call the law firm of Figueroa and Associates, 855-768-8845. That's 855-768-8845, or visit 311divorce.com. That's 311divorce.com. At the law firm of Figueroa and Associates, a divorce is not the end, it's a new beginning.
Dr. James McIntosh is one of the co-founders of CMOTAP, the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. Dr. McIntosh, 25 years you've been with us? CMOTAP?
Say that again?
25 years of CMOTAP?
CMOTAP has been since 1987.
Ooh, wow. My age. Beautiful.
Founded in
I'm trying to be
1987.
younger than you are.
And you have a another celebration, where you're going to be celebrating Nana, Dr. John Henrik Clark, this coming Sunday, correct?
Yes, it's a weekend. It's called Ancestral Remembrance Weekend. And so we have programs on both Saturday and Sunday. They're virtual programs. We'll be honoring on Saturday the life of Dr. S. Allen Counter. And on Sunday, we'll be honoring the life of Dr. John Henrik Clark. And there are other issues that we're really honoring the spirit of the Maroon. And there were elements of that we can see in both of these people's lives. Counter was a physiologist and and had a medical degree, and also was a what you would call an explorer, a person that went to remote regions, and he was an ethnologist, and he basically went to Suriname, where there were several villages of Africans that had escaped from, they became villages. They started out with people who escaped the enslavement, some of them as soon as they got off the boat and saw the rainforest. And somehow they survived, and they maintained African culture, names, religion, all those sorts of things. And so Brother Playfell Benjamin gave him the appellation, the most interesting man in the world, after he talked to him and spoke to him. Wow. I can speak to his book, I Sought My Brother. That book is just tremendous. Now, his life he was a professor at Harvard, and so, his life took some twists and turns, but overall, certainly he did some valuable work for the race. And Dr. Clark is the same way, person whose life took many twists and turns, but we remember him. This is the 25th annual tribute to ancestor Nana John Henry Clark. He left us in 1998. And so for both of those days, if we take all the panels from both days, among the people we have are Dr. Tyreen Wright, Brother Raymond Duguay, the Assistant President General of the UNIA. We have Sister Dr. LaFrancis Rogers Rose. We have Dr. Malefi Asante. We have Dr. Adelaide Sanford. We have Brother Tashango and Billy Shaka, and Doctors Rosalind and Leonard Jeffries. We also have Dr. Henry McCurtis, Dr. Cheryl Cottrell, Brother Herb Boyd, Brother Playfell Benjamin, Baba Tashango and Billy Shaka, Nana Betty Dobson, and myself, James McIntosh. And so it's going to be 2 days of really a lot of information. It's very interesting, like the cult of the celebrity. Our people, when they don't know about something, a lot of times we won't get the same type of response we get. And I guess that's with anybody, with people that they know. They know what Professor Clark has done, but Professor Clark could be just as obscure to their minds as S. Allen Counter is, if certain work wasn't done by people to. Looks like I got cut off there. Yeah.
That's Mac.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. It looked as though I was off the air for a second.
No, you're good. Now, Dr. Mac, how you doing, my brother?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Brother Noble. I'm well. Thank you.
It's good to hear your voice. I had a great time a few weeks ago at CMO Taps, coming back in person. Me, my daughter, and my mom went. So I want to say thank you to CMO Tap. I am a lifetime, or what they call a CMO Tap baby. That's right. Tell the listening audience, how can they get in contact with you, or where they can go to get the Zoom links and make the connection to get on for Saturday and for Sunday.
And one question I have actually, you were talking about people, the cult of celebrity. Can the community we're going to be tuning in ask questions of the professors who are speaking?
Yes, they can, and I'd be very surprised if anybody will ask a question, like that this panel won't know anything about.
Okay, right.
Like I said before, both of these people led lives that took many twists and turns, did many, many things. You can study them. I know with Du Bois, people study him by decades sometimes. And the same thing I could say with these brothers. You have to study them by decades. Professor Clark of the 40s and 50s is different from Professor Clark, as we get to the 90s. But all through his life, he was making, contributions. And same thing with Allen Counter. He did things to bring another African hero to light, an ancestor, Matthew Henson.
Mm-hmm.
And he did something very African, which was connecting his family, the family of Henson that he left in Greenland, among the Inuits, and he connected them with their family in in the United States, and actually caused the country that Henson had served to exhume his body and give him a burial at Arlington National Cemetery with honors, and also to give him a rank. Although he worked for so many decades for Commander Perry, that they gave him a rank of Master Chief and those sorts of things. Now, of course, we have a great. People say, "Well, I wouldn't want any honors from America or whatever." But the bottom line is that Henson, like so many people, like Professor Clark was in the United States Army, so many people we could just go down the line and talk about their military service. That's been the kind of the dilemma or the dichotomy, you could say, in our community. That we've had people that, from all points of view, they want to be free, and they try all kinds of different strategies. Some of them, of course, many of us have abandoned. But nevertheless, that was their strategy during the Black Achievement era. So, like I said before, there's this panel. Some of the things we just lucked up on. I happened to luck up on somebody who knew Alan Counter from when he was a student. I have a neurologist who's going to go over his neurophysiological papers. I have a protege of Asa Hilliard, who wrote the book called The Maroon Within Us. It's really a long essay, The Maroon Within Us. And he's going to approach these people from that standpoint. And so we just have a rich panel. And of course, Dr. Asante and Dr. Jeffries and Dr. Adelaide Sanford, we all know them. But everybody has their own perspective. And we haven't had the same program. We've had a program for 25 years on Professor Clark, and every year you will learn something new.
Absolutely. And
here's some people who will present something about Professor Clark that you never knew.
Can we get the links?
Okay, so
and also your website.
For both days, for those people who know how to use Zoom, the meeting ID number is, and don't get it confused with another similar number we've used in the past, his brand new number is 850-3740-3137. Repeat, the Zoom meeting ID number is 850-3740-3137. That's for both days. You can use the same code, use the same meeting ID number. And the passcode, you can have the same passcode both days, is 643-553. Repeat, 643-553.
And you have a website, sir?
Well, there's a phone number you can call that has a message that will give you all of the information. Okay, people who have people who want to send an email address or have a phone that will accept a text, they can call 347-907-0629. That's 347-907-0629, and we will send you a link and the 2 flyers for the program.
Thank you,
which makes it a little easier.
And they can look for CMOTAP on Facebook as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
okay.
There's a page. CMOTAP has a page.
Yes.
BAPA has a page. There's a page called Mind Field, which is our program on WBAI, and all of those will have the information for this program there. And of course, on Facebook,
thank you, Doc.
It's an event called the event is called Ancestral Remembrance Weekend.
Yes.
And if you click it, you can actually get the link right from there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
We'll be tuning in on Saturday and Sunday. Thank you so much.
I'll be
with
there.
Our questions. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Appreciate you.
Say it again. Say that again.
So
yes, and an hour has been preserved for questions and answers.
Yes,
the
perfect.
Speakers will be, we keep an hour. And actually, for those people who stay beyond, some of the speakers stay beyond. I certainly will stay beyond. We've actually had a session that started at 2,
yes,
and
yes.
people ask questions.
I've been on
all
one of
the way.
those. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
People have asked questions. I mean, sometimes, when we had a
Legendary.
big crowd, I mean, there were over 50 people that were still on
I was on that
at
one.
11 o'clock
Yeah.
at night once. When we had Dr. I can't remember. I think it was Dr. Bowles was on that
Dr.
time.
Bowley was.
Thank you,
But
Doc.
the program is only scheduled to be from you can get all of the speakers between 2 and 4, and the question and answer period we guarantee will be from at least from 4 to 5. But for the hardcore, the ones that are not faint of heart, you can stay as long as you want. We will generally not end it before we really have kind of exhausted every question the audience might have.
We appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
And I think
Appreciate
that's,
you also. Thank
yes,
you so
Dr.
much.
Mack. I think it's a perfect segue. We're speaking about the
You
maroon.
can stay on, Dr. Mack.
Stay on, Dr. Mack. But segue into the brother that we have here in studio with us, Brother Gregory, Jesus, Luke.
Good evening.
That is, I just met him several weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely.
But we connected right away because of the work that I do and that he does. He came to one of my meetings, but I want you to speak quickly about the program you have this weekend as well. That's going to be in Central Park. Brother Jesus is a Haitian brother.
Yes, native New Yorker.
Yes, which are
Haitian
Maroons.
descent.
I look at all Haitians as Maroons.
Yes, we are.
Right,
Yes,
I'm
we
Haitian
are.
by association,
Yeah, no, we all
100%.
Haitian in here,
Right.
I have some kind of affiliation.
So let's talk about Rah-Rah. What is Rah-Rah? What's going on this weekend? And
Rah-Rah
yeah.
is, it's funny because somebody asked me that the other day, and the word Rah-Rah is R-A-R-A. I don't know what that means, but I believe that it means son, right? Because
Okay.
Ra means son.
Yeah.
But Rah-Rah typically is, what we in the Haitian community celebrate. In the Haitian culture, we celebrate the Haitian culture, honoring our ancestors, honoring, like Doc said, honoring the deities, the lois that we call them, all the different deities in the religion. I wouldn't even call it a religion, maybe the way of life of voodoo. So it's just us giving back,
Yes.
kind of just remembering what
So
we
what's
do.
going on Saturday?
This Saturday, we actually doing an event. Well, we've been doing these events. We do them every Sunday. We've been doing them at the park. We've been in Central Park, also known as Seneca Village.
Right.
We've been there since the 90s, early 90s, doing our Gaga, So it's basically the Haitian community out of Harlem and Manhattan, just celebrating Haitian culture for the last 30 plus years in Manhattan, in Central Park, honoring our ancestors. And this weekend, we're actually doing a Hot Like Haiti event where we have some food. I actually did a book, so I'm an author as well.
Where's the book, sir?
The book, I was moving so quickly, but I'll give you this.
Okay.
And I owe you a book.
A
But the
coach
book is
misunderstood.
titled Haiti in Central Park. And again, it's just highlighting, it's a coffee table type book. So it's just some pictures and some history highlighting what we've been doing for the last 30 plus years, breaking down what Gaga is, what voodoo is, what the Haitian community in Manhattan has contributed to, this community and this borough and this city and this country as a whole. So
What time? What's the time?
the
How do we
event
find
is from
out?
5.
Right.
It's from 5 to 10. It's by, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Band Shell or Summer Stage, but it's right by Band Shell,
78th
Summer
Street?
Stage.
What is it? 78?
I want to say anywhere between 68 and 72nd. You can't miss us.
72nd,
You'll see us. You'll hear us.
You'll hear the
You'll
rah-rah.
hear us before you see us. And Raga, it incorporates instruments, woodwind instruments, hand instruments, drums, of course.
Family friendly, of course.
Absolutely,
Bring the children,
absolutely.
elders.
Culture is super family friendly. It's really about culture and again, highlighting the Haitian, some of our contributions to this borough. Here in Harlem, we've been coming here. We've been emigrating to the city forever since 1804.
Hundreds of years,
But
right.
I want to say the largest influx came in the late 60s, late 50s, early 60s, pardon me. And so there's so much that we've contributed to Harlem and
And the
New York
book,
City.
what is
On
the
Amazon, I think you have it on
Yeah,
Amazon.
you could find the book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and like 150 other
and
sites.
you have a website? I'm thinking.
Website is HaitiInCentralPark.com. And again, if you're looking for us, you could come check us at the park every Sunday, starting from Mother's Day Sunday
See, we
up
didn't know
until
that.
Labor Day Sunday.
And this weekend, we can make it a total
Come through this weekend.
Ancestors
This Saturday is gonna be
weekend.
live. It's gonna
Right.
be lit.
Yes.
Y'all gonna love it. Y'all gonna see what we've been doing for so many years. Very colorful, and of course, again, family friendly food, culture, life. You know,
Education,
And
yes,
education.
everything. You know,
history.
Now-
absolutely.
Now it's funny. You sent me a video, right, of the Africanisms, right? It's from on Instagram,
All right, okay.
right, of the dancing. So my homeboy, that lives in D.C., he was dancing at some party, and some white woman said, "Oh, I saw somebody dance like that in Africa," and me and him was like, "Yeah, of course." Because he's African. So I'm just bringing up to say that because I've felt rah-rah. I've been in, at Carnival and felt that energy. That is just pure Africa,
Absolutely.
right? It's pure. The only place that my paternal grandmother had ever been outside of the United States was Haiti. And my father always said that Haiti, and my father had lived in Africa for 5 years, he said Haiti was more like Africa, the old original Africa than Africa.
Still.
Modern Africa was supposed to be like Africa. And what I'm just saying is that's how much of that energy that we have just encapsulated, whether we brought it to New York, we brought it to Congo Square, we brought it to the islands, wherever we go, that energy and that rah-rah and those Africanisms are so heavy,
It's
so
very
heavy.
captivating.
You captured
Oh.
the narrative for Haiti, right? You are capturing it, and it's your
Yes.
narrative, right?
Yes, it's
Yes.
mine.
It's not,
And what-
I'm not
oh.
talking about. It's not the mainstream narrative for Haiti.
I mean, you
Tie
know-
that into since we only have 1 minute.
Okay.
Tie that into the work that you do in Haiti, the
Well,
work that
right
you
now,
do.
Right now,
yeah.
I've been for the last 15 years. I've been taking students during that spring break out to Haiti.
It's called Spring Break
Yeah,
in Haiti.
Spring
Kind
break
of
in
buried
Haiti.
the lead, sir.
Yeah.
That's a big story that we
You
needed
know,
to talk about. I'll
So
bring you back
that's-
now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yeah, we've been doing that for the last 15 years. Just
Keep going. Go
okay,
ahead.
just really, reintroducing Haiti to the entire world because of the negative
Exactly.
stigmas
Right.
and stereotypes
Right.
that's been attached to the country for so long. So this is like our way, especially these new up and coming young Haitian first generation Haitian Americans. This is like our way of kind of paying back, especially knowing how hard our parents
Yeah, they had
worked. Coming here, just getting here was a trip in itself, and then working here and to put you through school and making sure you stay on the right track. This was like our way of like kind of giving back. So and of course the world, so we dealt with growing up here in the 80s, the 70s, a lot of the stigmas, a lot of those stereotypes as a Haitian American. I've dealt with them myself. So this is like a kind of I don't even want to say a slap in the face, just again a reintroduction,
Right.
the right
Renaissance.
way.
Right.
Yeah,
You gotta go.
Yep.
But we need to have you back on, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. and
Yes,
letting us
thank
know.
you.
One
Thank
more
you,
time,
my
real quick.
brother.
The websites.
The
for those-
websites, both websites, HaitiInCentralPark.com and SpringBreakinHaiti.com, highlighting our
Doing
spring
civic
break
work.
in Haiti
Yeah.
endeavors.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not just a spring break girls
No,
gone
no,
wild
no,
kind
no,
of thing.
no. Y'all
It's more
working.
of a
Family
an
friendly.
They working.
immersion
Yes.
type of trip. Yes,
you.
humanitarian. So we legit. Check us out, and thank you for inviting me.
You're
Thank
more
you,
than welcome.
brother.
No,
Dr.
no doubt.
McIntosh, if you're still with us. Sir, are you with us now?
Yes, I'm still
Oh,
with you.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Doc.
It's a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Busy
Okay,
weekend.
thank you.
Ancestors weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hope to see you all.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I'll be
Okay.
on.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Likewise.
Yes.
Nova, thank you so much,
No
sir.
problem, my sister.
Always good.
Yes.
Ashley,
Lactastic.
studio engineer, thank you, ma'am.
Red Fro.
And look at Barbie-isms. We're not going to talk about Barbie right now.
Not today.
Not today.
Next week.
Ashley. Oh, ever. But anyway. Nope. So, yes.
End the show.
Okay, fine, yes. Nayaba Arende, back to basics. Thank you, y'all.
Boom.
Um,
Black love,
Usual,
black power,
news, views,
all
interviews,
that.
etc. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna spread the. We're gonna download and put it on our
It'll be
social
all up.
media. It'll be everywhere.
Either